In the world of digital projects, we are all obsessed with one thing: speed. How fast can we build it? How fast can we launch? But what if that's the wrong question entirely? What if the secret to success isn't building faster, but building smarter? Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical idea: what happens when you prioritize decisions over delivery.
Just let that one sink in for a moment. We think the real cost is a bug or maybe a missed deadline, but it's not. The real, crippling cost comes from building the completely wrong thing in the first place, or maybe building the right thing, but just way too soon. We're talking about those foundational mistakes that happen long before a single line of code ever gets written.
So why do so many smart teams keep falling into this pattern? Well, it's because they're caught in something I like to call the delivery trap. It's this mindset that feels super productive, like you're getting a lot done. But as we're about to see, it's actually a recipe for failure. This slide really just captures the core battle right here. On one side, you've got the typical focus, pure delivery. It's all about speed, churning out features, and hitting that launch date no matter what. But the real leverage, the place where success is actually decided, is over on the other side. It's all about the quality of the thinking, the decisions you make about structure, systems, and the outcomes you actually want. And this says it all, doesn't it? When your main goal is just to ship it, you're not really building for success. You're just feeding a conveyor belt. The whole focus shifts away from achieving a real business outcome and toward just checking tasks off a list. So what does this trap look like in the real world? It's a pretty simple three-step path to failure. First, the agency says yes to a project without asking any of the hard, necessary questions. Second, they rush to build it, always prioritizing speed over solid planning. And third, everyone celebrates on launch day, right? But nobody ever stops to measure if the project actually achieved its long-term goals. It feels great in the moment, but it leads to a world of pain down the road.
Okay, so we've laid out the trap. Now let's talk about the damage. What are the real, tangible consequences of this delivery-first mindset? Because these are the hidden costs that can absolutely cripple a project long after it's launched. Have you ever seen these patterns before? I bet you have. You end up with this random pile of features that don't really connect into a coherent product. SEO is just an afterthought, a checklist to tick off at the end. Or, and this is a classic, there's a huge marketing push for growth before the platform is even stable enough to handle it. These aren't isolated little problems. They're all symptoms of the exact same disease, prioritizing speed over strategy.
And when you pour all of these flawed approaches into one project, well, the result is predictable. And trust me, it's not pretty. It all leads to one inevitable outcome, and here it is. This is the ultimate failure of the delivery trap. You get something that technically works on launch day, but it's built on a foundation of sand. It's brittle, it's a nightmare to maintain, and it's impossible to scale. You haven't built a long-term asset. You've built a temporary fix that is absolutely destined to break.
All right, enough about the problem. How do we fix this? The solution isn't some new, fancy piece of software or a super complex methodology. It's actually much simpler and way more profound. It all starts with a fundamental shift in the questions we ask at the very beginning of a project.
And this right here is the crucial shift. As a client, you shouldn't be paying for more output, more lines of code, more features. You should be paying for better thinking, for the strategy, the foresight, and the good judgment that prevents all those costly mistakes from happening in the first place.
This is the first and, honestly, the most critical question. Are we just slapping a Band-Aid on a symptom, or are we really digging in and tackling the root cause of the problem? A true strategic partner doesn't just build what you ask for. They push you hard to answer this question honestly. Okay, next up, you have to think about the foundation. Before we even whisper the word scaling, what are the core elements, the architecture, the data model, the performance, that absolutely have to be rock solid to support any future growth? And finally, this might be the most important question of them all. Look, some decisions are easy to undo, but others, choosing the wrong tech stack, for example, that can lock you into a path that is incredibly expensive to reverse later. A decision-first agency obsesses over identifying these one-way door decisions and getting them right from the start. So, asking better questions is step one. But what does that actually look like in practice? Let's break down the strategic blueprint for turning this whole mindset into a concrete plan for building with judgment. This entire approach really boils down to three core principles. First, a solid architectural foundation is always more valuable than a flashy, pretty interface. Second, building robust, scalable systems is always better than relying on clever, brittle shortcuts. And third, aiming for steady, sustainable growth will always beat chasing a temporary spike in traffic. So let's put a little more meat on these bones. Clear thinking is simple. If there's no strong why behind a feature, you just don't build it. Strong foundations means things like performance and security aren't afterthoughts. They're baked in from day one. Honest pushback, this one might be the most important. It's about having a partner who isn't afraid to tell you an idea is bad. And finally, accountability just means we're shifting the definition of success away from did we launch on time to did we achieve the real business goal a year from now.
Okay, let's make this super practical. We're going to turn this whole philosophy into a brand new checklist. These are the things you should be demanding from any partner you decide to work with.
Yeah, it's time to stop asking how fast can you build this and start demanding a much higher level of strategic partnership. And here's exactly what that looks like. This is your new set of demands. Number one, insist on clear, strategic thinking before a single dollar is spent on actually building anything. 2, demand that strong foundations for growth are built in from the very start. 3, hire a partner who will give you honest pushback, not just the yes man. And 4, make it crystal clear that you're going to hold them accountable for long-term business results, not just a pretty launch party. I love this quote because it gets to the absolute core of this idea. A true partner isn't just an order taker. Their most valuable service isn't saying yes. It's having the expertise and, frankly, the courage to say no, or hang on, let's rethink this. They're there to protect you from your own most expensive mistakes. So here's the final thought I want to leave you with. The next time you're about to kick off a project, I want you to shift your focus. Don't just hand over a list of things to build. Instead, demand a strategic partner who brings clear thinking to the table. Because in the end, the quality of the thinking you buy is so much more important than the quantity of output you get. And that is the decision that truly determines success.